Namaste. Welcome again. I wanted to cover a little bit about some of the yoga tools that I use. I like to incorporate use of various tools through the classes that I offer because I think they are so essential to being a help to making yoga accessible to more body types or to just meeting our body where we are today. Perhaps today we don't feel so mobile in our hips or so mobile in our shoulders or anywhere else in the body, but using some of these tools and implementing them makes things a little bit easier, a little bit more accessible, a little bit more doable, and we are empowered through finding success by just implementing a little bit of assistance through straps, blocks, blankets, and bolsters. So I'll talk a little bit about each one. Yoga straps. These are amazing tools for helping to add length, like to our arms, to be able to reach certain areas of our body with the straps when our arms seem to be not able to go that far. So that's what straps are used for the most part. We find all kinds of different ways to incorporate in the use of the strap. I highly recommend that if you're going to purchase a yoga strap, you get one that is at least 10 feet long. It will give you the most versatility in being able to do a lot more things the longer that it is. And I'll have information about all the tools below this video if you want to look them up online. Everything that I'm showing you today, I give a little bit of information at the bottom, and I've given you the names of ones which are very reasonably priced and won't cost too much. So you don't have to break the bank to be able to get these tools. Something else that I love to use are these foam blocks. 2 of them is best because sometimes we're having one in each hand to help us to add lift or to add support to certain parts of the body. So these are excellent tools to be able to use, perhaps to lift up through the arms and shoulders, give more opening into the hips, or perhaps to sit on and add some lift here into the hips, or to support the hips in other positions and set them under the buttocks, or to support the head. So many different ways of using the blocks. The strap and the blocks are pretty essential if you would like to make use of tools. You don't have to use these tools. Once again, they just make things a little bit more accessible and comfortable. I also like to make use of the Mexican blanket. You can find those online as well. This one actually came from Mexico. My son brought it to me many years ago when he was a teenager and he went on a mission trip to Mexico. Little did I know when he brought home that blanket that a few years later it was going to be my staple blanket for all my yoga classes. So that's kind of a neat story. The Mexican blankets are wonderful for providing support to different areas of the body and a little bit more cushion support. The blocks tend to be a little bit harder, may not feel as comfortable in particular areas, but the blanket can be very nice and cushy for supporting. One blanket is great. 2 blankets is awesome, especially in the yin practices or in the restorative practices. The blanket is a wonderful and perfect tool for sitting on and lifting the hips in a sitting cross-legged position. When we lift the hips as we are sitting on the floor, it helps us to lengthen the spine and to prevent the spine from caving backwards and us finding ourselves in a typical slouching TV position. Another thing that I like to use are bolsters. These are especially helpful in the restorative practices because in restorative we're looking to support the body as much as possible in all areas. And so there's thin, like these are called Pranayama Bolsters. They're a little bit smaller and easy to use for underneath the knees. These are also excellent instead of the blanket here sometimes for sitting on to lift the hips. Perfect for meditation. And many other ways of supporting the body with the small pranayama bolster there. There's also a small round bolster. This one is perfect for me because I'm a smaller person. I'm 5'2", and I like this one when I am lying back in Shavasana and I want to prop up my knees to support my lower back. This one is just the right size for me, so I really like this one for that effect. But it can be used in many other great and versatile ways like this one. And then we have the bigger bolsters. These are big rectangular bolsters and also, round bolsters, rectangular bolsters. These are excellent, again, for supporting the body in different positions. Sometimes we bring bolsters in with blocks. And we use the blocks in all kinds of ways. We prop up the bolsters. We get very nice and comfortable here, supporting the back. We can bring in this bolster here under the knees and relax. Lots of different ways to support the body. This position here is one that we might use in a restorative yoga practice, in which we recline like that with the body being supported. And we give the body the time to be still and to be surrendered, which helps to bring about a little bit speedier recovery from healing in any way. And then we have our mats. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on a mat. I list a couple or 3 different options below that won't cost you very much, but are of a decent quality. Now, if you want to spend more money on high-end mats, great, go for it, no problem. But I have used my Aurorae mat here since I began practicing yoga. Still hasn't worn out. It's been doing great for me. And it's got just the right cushioning, not too much, not too little, and it's fairly grippy. And I thoroughly enjoy it. The next tools, purely optional for your fun and use and a little bit of practicality. I find that if I am moving a little bit faster in my practice and I start to become warm and start to, sweat a little bit, my feet and my hands can start to slip on the mat. So you can buy these cool little gloves, yoga gloves, that have fingers and grips. I really like these if I'm doing faster moving practice, and I'm especially going into a lot of downward dogs that I might feel warm and start to slip. My practices will not be super fast practices, but if you're a person who likes to do some slow practices and some fast practices, you might enjoy this for your more fluid movements with a lot of sun salutations and things like that. I make use of my grippy socks all the time because, again, my feet get warm and I might start to slip on the mat. So these grippy socks have toes. They also sell grippy socks that don't have toes. Your toes are all encased together. I highly recommend you get the toe ones if you're going to invest in these. It's good to be able to see our toes during our practice and to be able to spread them and play with them. And if they're constricted all together, you may not have the same effect. So these are purely for fun, or it could be very beneficial to you. I know that my students at the gym prefer not to take their socks off. It's a big, large community exercise room, and so they like having their socks on, but regular socks can definitely cause slipping on the mat. So these are a great alternative for that. And I think I've covered all the different yoga tools that I will regularly use. Oh, the chair. So some of the videos that I will create will have chair yoga included. It might be a whole chair yoga class, or it may just be part of the class that is making use of a chair. I highly recommend just getting a really inexpensive metal folding chair. No cushioning on the seat. This one came from my card table that has a little bit of cushioning, but this is not super ideal. Those metal hard folding chairs, they sell them at Walmart for like $12. That would be the best investment if you want to do any of my videos that include chair use. Chair is especially helpful for people who have a limited mobility, and getting up and down, off the floor is a little bit more difficult. They're helpful for getting up and down off the floor. They're also excellent just to have a whole practice seated on the chair, moving the body seated on the chair or standing with the chair and using the chair for support. I think that about wraps it up with the use of tools. And again, I am honored that you would share your yoga journey with me. And I thank you so much. And I hope that this has been helpful to you. And make sure you look below in the information where I have noted the names of all of these particular props and tools that I use. Thank you so much. Namaste.